Oh my gosh. Okay, voices off. All right, so online kids, we just tested ourselves for the second time today to see how many of our case endings we know. Most kids were able to do a good bit of the first declension, if not more. And now we're walking through these endings before proceeding on to chapter 2 vocabulary. So, why is this frozen?
It's not frozen.
Okay, so yeah, if you remember one of the dative plurals, you remember 4 out of your 24 endings. That's kind of like a nice 4 birds with 1 stone. And then accusatives. That's something I want people to prioritize along with nominative. I think nominative and genitive are pretty easy to get. And then your next step should maybe be like kind of skip dative and hold off on like mastering the dative and learn your accusative ones. All the singular accusatives in an M, that's like super convenient in terms of memorizing them. And then the plurals end in S, and it's not IS. It's sandwiched by these IS plural endings. But the accusative endings have like the vowel that shows up a lot in that declension, like AS for first declension, because A shows up a lot in first declension in almost all the endings, and then O, S. And I think it's OS as the accusative plural so that they don't do US. Like maybe Roman people would have like wanted it to be US again, but they're like, oh, but then how can we tell if it's a nominative singular, the accusative plural? So then we'll do OS instead. Ablative likes these single vowels with macrons over them. And then again, the long ISs show up, and then here's about vocative. So who thinks that on Friday they're going to be able to do both declensions?
We'll try.
Maddie, do you now remember what the second declension actually is?
Yeah, I just
You
remember
do?
the song. No, I
You have
don't.
a song? Wait, so yeah, I should probably check YouTube. There are songs that, especially for younger kids, they'll like have like a song for the whole. Yeah, I mean, some schools try it in elementary. It's pretty tricky, but it's a thing. Okay, and let's see, raise your hand if you can definitely do all of the verb chart, pronouns and endings. Everyone. Really? Just 4 people? 5 people? Yeah, the OS. So OST must have sent, but you also have to do the pronouns I, you, it, we, all, they. So that's what you do. Okay, so I'm glad I'm seeing most hands. Hopefully the people not raising their hands are either like super close to that or they're just not raising their hands. But anyway, verb endings. And it's already doing that thing here. Okay. Wow, why? Oh my gosh. Some days technology just kind of like decides to not. Oh, maybe because it's still paused on here. Maybe that's all it is. That would make sense. All right, guys, you know the drill. It's going to get redundant by the end of the week, but that's okay. We're mastering our words. So this is the last time we're looking at these words, and it's okay that we cannot know them. Starting on Monday of next week, you just got to know these. You just have to. Okay, they're not too hard. Chapter 3, I was just looking at chapter 3. Those are the easiest words. Stuff like populous and embarrass people and number. It's so easy. But chapter 2 is not bad either. We get a bunch of nouns. Chapter 1 is all about verbs. Chapter 2 is about first declension noun. So it's going to be only first declension in chapter 2. So you're following along with your vocab refresher sheet. If you practically lost it already, that's insane, but there is more on the table. So Laura, go ahead and get the out. Okay. Somehow you always look like you're about to take a nap. Like you're always about to start taking a nap.
Oh, I'm always about to take a nap.
Okay, so what voice is off? Let's actually, we're like fully in class time now. Kylie, what is fama, fami? Yes, fame. It is important to know what it can mean other than just fame. Because fame should be pretty obvious. I hope all of us know that this means fame. But it's a little broader than just that. It's rumor or report. So it's like, it's not so much fame in the way you think of it now, like what celebrities have. It's literally the fame that any person has in terms of their reputation. So rumor, report, reputation is what follows a person around, especially in ancient times when there's no social media. All people have to go on is what people say about you. So there's actually a representation of rumor in Greek mythology sometimes. Sometimes she's like this bird woman. Other times she's just like an angel, like later on with a big trumpet, like she's announcing news to the world, like spreading a rumor around. There's a scene in Virgil where she like in Aeneid rather, where Aeneid starts like dating this woman Dido, this queen of Carthage, and then rumor like runs around town like spreading the news everywhere like wildfire. And Augustus had a lot of fame, and we get famous, defame, and infamy. But just be careful; these are not actually what fama means. They're just related words. Forma forma. What is forma forma, Ava? Yes, so form, shape, or beauty. Just like fama, this one should kind of like obviously be form, but then no, like shape is kind of synonymous with form, but then beauty is something kind of different. So it's not just that it's going to be the form; it's going to be like any kind of like a good, like a high.
Haley,
What?
nothing.
Yes, I kind of chose the. So I was looking for like marble statues that were supposed to be like really nice looking or whatever. But then I actually chose these because, especially him or her, I think it's him. He's got the crazy ramen noodle hair, which is like kind of funny. They get better at hair eventually. Caitlin, what did you have a comment about their ramen noodle hair? No.
No.
Oh, okay. All right. So we get words like formal from this, like a formal event. You're like fitting within a certain form. Okay, aspiring to a certain level of aesthetic. Format is like the way something is done, the form that something is done. And I mean, most of these are pretty obvious. Formless. But yeah, all those words, it's like we know those words. All right, fortuna. See how easy these words are? We know these. What is this, Natalie? Yes, so it's fortune or luck. So luck is like slightly this different thing. Jimmy the chicken is making some kind of.
Jimmy, that's his name, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Can he have a gender neutral name? Like Patricia? Like Morgan?
Morgan. Yeah, okay, Morgan the chicken. He's making some kind of horrible joke. He's got a really bad sense of humor, guys. Just like laugh for him sometimes to make him feel good. But so yeah, this is all of these are first declension feminine. So if you're like, you know what, I'm mastered these words, I'm a little bored right now in Mr. Caldwell's class because I know all these words, you can at least be focusing on the declension, the gender, the part of speech. Spoiler, all of these are nouns right now. Okay, era, eri. This is one we haven't seen too much, but it's not too hard, or it should be. Alora? Good. What declension is it, Alora? Just be sure. It's well, how do we know? Chapter 2 only has first declension words, and you just look at the endings of the noun and the genitive. It's A and AE, it's first declension. It's not US or R in long I. That would be second. We won't get second declension until chapter 3. All right. What is he saying here? Sumartius, I am Mars, son of Jupiter, full of anger and fire. Wow. So we get irate, irascible. Irate, what does irate mean? Anyone out loud?
Anger.
It doesn't really mean anger. It means angry. It's an adjective. Irascible is like angerable. Like you can get anger. Easy to anger. And then the book says irate or irritate rather is not related, but I'm like, who cares? It sounds like it's related, so if that maybe it helps you remember this. All right, now tie. Carson. Yes, we've seen a lot going on with these sailors here. Now, what gender is Nauta, Carson?
It is feminine, but it's supposed to be masculine.
It's technically actually masculine, yeah. So like 99% of the first declension words are feminine, but for some reason, Nauta, Agricola, and Poeta are masculine. This might have had to do with like how Roman people thought of sailors, poets, and farmers. They're just like, oh yeah, those are jobs that men do, right? Like that's not really like correct, but that is probably what they're. Yeah, you should be a farmer, poet, sailor, Maddie. We get words like nautical, nautilus. What is nautilus? You know, is that like it's like a name of? I think nautilus is like it's like the name of a ship in a book. But obviously it's coming from nautical, which nautical has to do with just like sailing.
one of the original. It was actually before dinosaurs. It was in the Cambrian explosion, is what we call it. But in the Cambrian era, there is this thing with pointed heads and little tentacles coming out the bottom, like little squids.
Yeah, okay.
And it was called the Nautilus. And there's another book where people went in a giant narwhal, like robot, and they destroyed ships. I don't know. It was a book that came out a long time ago, and everything was made from narwhal horn.
That's cool. Narwhals are crazy. All right, we get Argonaut from this too. That's a group of Greek sailors who were in Greek mythology. Yeah. Yes, this is fatherland. This is it can also more broadly just be country, honestly, as in one country. So we get words like patriotic and expatriate. Expatriate can be a verb or a noun. An expatriate is someone who has left their home country. To expatriate is to leave your home country. To repatriate or to repatriate is to come back to your country. A repatriate is someone who has come back to their country. So just depending on how you pronounce it, it's either a noun or a verb. And look at that beautiful impressionist view of an Italian island. Lovely. Oh my gosh. There he is. It's our friend.
No.
It's because like he's right there. He's blinking. Oh, there's a little.
It'd be cool if we could watch him like walk down the street and like talk to NPCs, do some quests. All right, what is Pecunia Caden?
Money?
Good. Yeah, this is money. So there's related words to this, but we don't use these words at all. Pecuniary means like having to do with money. No one uses that word. And impecunious means like without money. And no one uses that word. There's some Roman denarii, various types of Roman coins would get the likeness of various emperors on them eventually. Okay, so I feel like this is one maybe from this chapter that you might write down. But you guys are looking good at vocab today. I'm not seeing too many people write some other stuff. Devin's still catching up with how we lost this vocab. Maddie's got some.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Oh, cool. Laura's already told him almost out. Amazing. Good job. So simultaneously is a good thing to not be filling it up and to be it's like good either way. If it's like if yours is full right now, that means you're like taking action to learn all these words. If it's not full, then I hope it means that you like know all these words already. Good for you. Philosophia, Riley. Good. What is philosophy? Anyone, real quick? I don't understand what that word means.
Maybe like writing or studying.
Yeah, it has to do with writing and studying older texts and making theories. It's kind of like the study of meaning and the study of the meaning of life specifically. So Greece was actually really good at producing men and women who thought deep and hard about the meaning of life. And so that starts with Socrates. We don't have any writing from Socrates, but his student Plato has Socrates as a character in a lot of his writings. These dialogues where he has Socrates talking to students. And then Plato's student is Aristotle, who is also a famous philosopher. And Aristotle goes on to be the mentor of who? Anyone?
Whoever that is.
Alexander the Great.
Alexander the Great, which is kind of interesting. Alexander the Great grows up in Macedonia, or Macedon, just north of Greece. And he's like a prince of Macedon. His father wants to conquer Greece, but is unsuccessful. He grows up loving Greek philosophy and the Greek poems, like Homer's poems, Odyssey and Iliad. And then he grows up to conquer Greece. It's exactly what he wanted to do with his life. But he doesn't live very long. Poina. We have not seen this one at all. Ava? Good. Penalty or punishment. So we get things like the word penalty from this and penalized. And penal, like the penal system, which is like jails and stuff. And so this is the most important thing. Maybe you know what this word means, but if you don't know this is like buried in the dictionary entry for poina. And that is when poinos goes with the verb dare, to give, right? We saw that yesterday. It doesn't mean to give a penalty. It means to pay a penalty. So this is one of those weird, we call it an idiomatic construction. Idiom or idiomatic language is like the kind of language someone uses when they've grown up in a culture, and they're kind of like phrases that you might not like find written down in an encyclopedia, but it's like everybody in the local area knows what a person means by that. So anyway, it's like we wouldn't translate it this way if we didn't know to translate it. It will come up eventually. It's not to give a punishment, to pay a penalty. That is Tantalus, the grandfather of Agamemnon, one of the kings who fights in the Trojan War. He tried to play a trick on the gods, and he I don't know, it's kind of gross. I don't want to talk about it. Yeah.
So like, didn't
Maddie, stop talking.
Didn't you run like 2 different blacksmith shop or something and say like the king challenged them and then they fight together and then his mouth gets sewn shut?
Oh, that sounds like maybe another guy. But no, he tried to play a trick on the gods. He tried to feed them something gross. It was his son. And then the gods found out, and so his punishment was to constantly be stuck in this part of the underworld where he's like reaching for grapes that are hanging above him, and then every time he tries to reach for them, the grapes like get pulled up, and every time he tries to take a sip of the water that he's submerged in, the water drains. So he's constantly tantalized, that's where we get that word, by the grapes and the water that he can't get to. And then Sisyphus has to roll a rock up a hill every single day, and it always rolls back down, and he just keeps rolling it. I forget what happened, what he did to make the gods mad. What is port? Yes. Oh yeah, this is door or gate. It's probably more like gate or entrance, but it can totally be door. This is Janus, the namesake of the month of January. Okay, he is literally a door god. So he has 2 heads. You almost can't tell here. They look like they're facing the same way, but they're supposed to be like facing opposite ways. Like one from the back of his head, like Quirrell in Sorcerer's Stone. And this is the gate of Janus in Rome. It's literally just a big old gate with 4 doors on either side. It's a cube of a gate. And we get words like portal, portico, porch, porthole. Anybody use the word porch around here? Yeah, okay, y'all know that one. That's not like a southern thing. Yeah, front porch. Puella. What is this now? Good. More first declension, right? Just first declension nouns. That's all we have in chapter 2, basically. Here's some Puella et Feminae as well. They would wear these stola. So men would wear toga. They would wear something called a stola. They would also, both genders would wear tunics. But these stola were more like drapey, whereas the toga, you had to like wrap it around a person when you put it on. Rosa. This is maybe the hardest vocab word to remember. Maddie, what is this one?
I thought it was no, I'm kidding. It's Rose.
What declension is it? First or second declension, Maddie? Just to be sure. Just a little check here.
First.
Yeah, it's first. These are all first.
I know you think I'm stupid.
No, well, that was kind of. I was just wanting you to say something like, "What's a declension again?" But no.
I was about to say that.
No, these are all first declension, and I would say all of them are also feminine. But like we saw with Nauta, there are a couple technically masculine ones. There's a Rose Sententia. This one's for you guys off in a bonus question in Jeopardy.
Feeling the shot.
Yeah, and it can be a lot of, so feeling of thought's good, but it can also be opinion, sentence. So sentence is the easiest way to translate it. It can even be a vote, though. Oh, like what's the connection between all these things? They're all like forms of communication, right? It's like an individualistic communication that like one person kind of expresses. It's an expression, the verbal expression. And don't get it mixed up with sapientia, because a lot of people were. We get sentencing. The book didn't say we get sentient from this, but I think we get sentient. Sentient means like a life form that is like capable of thought and feeling. Vitae. What's this, Natalie? Good. What are some related words we get from vitae? You know? Yeah, one's vitamin. Vitamins are they're full of life, I guess. Revive, if you make someone come back to life. Vital or vitals, like the things that show that a person is alive. Vivacious means lively. So yeah, the Romans thought the soul was potentially eternal, and that there was an afterlife that is somewhat similar to like Judeo-Christian concepts of heaven. Any questions? Okay, Antiquity. Oh, okay, we're out of noun world. Who can know what this means and what part of speech is it? Aiden, you just what does it mean? Over ancient, and what part of speech is it? Alan? It's an adjective. So, you know how like all of these nouns, they had 2 forms? That was the nominative and the genitive. That's how noun dictionary entries are. Now that we're in adjective world, even if you didn't know what this means, but if you knew it was a dictionary entry, you should be able to say, oh, I don't know what it means, but I know it's an adjective. It's definitely an adjective. So now we're going to get our first few adjectives. We had no adjectives in chapter 1. Chapter 2 gives us a few, right, Maddie? It gives us a few. Well, it's hard for us to pay attention when there's like consonants and we're murmuring in the corner. All right. So we get words like antique and antiquated, and we get antiquity. Some people use this term antiquity to just refer to all of ancient times. They're like, oh, that all of ancient Roman and Greek times, that's what we call antiquity with a capital A. There is a Attic red vase, is what we call Athenian pottery. Attic as an Athenian, kind of weird, but very distinct. A lot of it in the British Museum. Magnus Magnum Magnum. What is that, Aiden? I mean, Ava? Say it again? Yeah, great or large. So usually I would go with great. I don't feel like we don't see this too much as meaning large.
Like a large
Yeah, right. A large poet, a large teacher. No, there is Aeneas there stomping on an Italian person. Remember, Aeneas travels all the way from Troy at the end of the Trojan War to Italy. So this is their version of Columbus, Christopher Columbus, except he's way more cool and he's pious. And sometimes he's great. Virgil describes him as great sometimes. Yeah, probably. And he's like fully mythological. But unlike a lot of those people you see in Iliad and Odyssey, he is actually in Iliad a little bit, but just like barely. He's described as pious, meaning like kind of virtuous, kind of moral. That was something Virgil kind of added to the mix. Homer's heroes, they're all kind of just like violent and full of wrath and they want vengeance. And Odysseus is like a liar and tricky. But Aeneas, he's pious. He's actually kind of good. Right? Virtue and ethics and like being ethically responsible and virtuous was not something that older mythological characters were concerned with. But Aeneas is concerned with it, apparently. Molten, molten, molten. Don't get it confused with Magnus Magnum Magnum. You know it is an adjective. Ava, it means what? Yeah, many or much. And so we get words like multiply, multiple. We get the prefix multi, like multi-colored or whatever. There's a bunch of gods. There's many gods. Two is to a tuum. We haven't seen this one too much. Pun intended, Natalie? Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And this is an adjective, by the way. You might not think of a word like your as being descriptive, but it is actually an adjective. Again, guys, part of the reason they're giving us the nominative of each gender, masculine, feminine, neuter, is they're saying that this word is going to take on the ending of the noun modifying, right? So adjectives and adjectives are so common, pretty easy. They only get weird when we have one of the weird nouns that like their gender is wrong, like sailor or poet, or when like remember we had the evil man, lawless, weird. So we do have those few nouns that end in R, but they still get US adjectives. That's as hard as adjectives get right now. Not too bad. What is X? And what part of speech is it? Yeah. Well, we haven't seen today. We saw it was part of speech. Oh, now conjunction, just like C. So the only conjunction we saw yesterday was E. Now we get like the most common conjunction of any language, probably. Whatever this is in any language. In Spanish, it's just E, Y. In English, it's 3 letters. Latin, it's 2 letters. Oh my gosh.
Oh no, chicken digging over the wall.
What is said, Carson?
What?
So this is the second most common conjunction. Second most common conjunction. It means but. It's a chicken war. What is O? This is a really hard one. This is tough. Grace? Yeah, it just means O. Oh my god. I don't know. This interjection, by the way, if this shows up, it's probably part of a vocative noun phrase, like, oh, great fortune, or whatever. Yeah, no, it's not about, it's just, they're peacocking is what it's called. Sine, what is sine? Yeah, without, what part of speech is sine? This is the first example of this part of speech, so we've got, not Carson. Alan? It is a preposition. So, Chicken Boy says it goes with ablative nouns like in agro, in the field. So, agro would be ablative because it's the object of the. But say I'm saying something like, oh, you're going to do something without me. That'd be sine me, without me. And me would be ablative. Yeah. So, this is our first preposition. pretty exciting. It's not as easy as because in is in and sine is not. It's another word without. But yeah, preposition. I would write that down if you didn't know sine. It probably sounds so annoying to the learners. S. What is S? Carson?
And.
And what part of speech is this? Not a oh, Laura, what part of speech is S? Is. The word is. Think about it. It's not a preposition. But what kind of word? A noun, verb, adjective.
Verb.
It's a what?
Verb.
Yeah, it's a verb. This is a verb.
Oh
And
my
so,
God.
they give us in chapter 2. They give us just the third singular form of this verb, right? Which is S. They just give us is, and then it's not until chapter 4 that we get the whole thing, which is this weird verb that is sum ss, I am, you are, it is. Sum est is sunt, we are, y'all are, they. Weird verb in English and Latin, right? But it's not that weird. I don't think we're that thrown off by this verb, right? Are y'all? Is anybody in here really mad at this verb? Anybody dislike this verb a lot because it's confusing to them? It's not that bad. It starts with either E or S alternatingly, which is weird. But other than that, it's not that bad. The infinitive is very weird, right? That was what I thought recently. Weird infinitive. It does not end in RE. What, Maddie?
I just saw it to a card.
Oh, what?
A teal card, bright teal.
Okay, that is rare. Okay. That is it for chapter 2. So who has, between chapter 1 and 2, this is not really a point of pride. It's both good if you wrote a lot and if you wrote a little, but who wrote less than 5 words between chapter 1 and 2? Meaning that only 5 or less words are words you didn't know. So, okay, that's actually pretty impressive. If you're not like that, that's fine. Totally fine. But it looks like 6 of us only have not known about. You wrote exactly 6? Okay. Raise your hand if you wrote more than 10. Be proud of it. It's awesome. Okay. Grace and Maddie are on their second year.
I'm at 20.
But they're comprehensive. They're still writing more than 10 of these words.
I wrote 20.
It is, okay. But it's not anything to be, like, to feel bad about or whatever.
Oh, I don't.
Let's do, shh, quiet down. Let's do a few quick translations, and then we might have a few minutes to do flashcards. Nauta. So let's read this carefully, guys. Nauta patrium conservat. What is this gonna be? Since Carson knows it so quickly, I almost don't want to call on Carson. Danny, raise your hand second. Danny, what do you think it is? Very good, but be a little more careful. You think it's sailors? Just the sailor. Yeah. So that means that Danny is saying nauta is what case, Richard? What case is nauta if she's saying this means sailor conserves the fatherland? What case would it be?
Oh. The first one.
The first one, right. So the first one, which is what, Devin? What case can Richard not quite think of? He did almost have a full week off. He's a little rusty. What is it, Macy? It's nominative, right? This is an A without a macron. It's the first noun we're seeing. The only other thing it could be is vocative, and I don't think we're just screaming out the word sailor here. I don't see like quotations around it or exclamation. And does it conserve with our, agree with our verb? Well, does it? You tell me, Aiden. Is this first, second, or third person? Danny says third. Do you agree? You do? Yeah, it's third singular, so it needs a he, she, or it, meaning it does agree with sailor. The sailor is definitely a he, she, or it. I guess technically a he since it's masculine. And then patrium, last but not least, what case is patrium, Jake? So it's a nominative, agreeing with the verb, and it's a sailor, conserves the fatherland. So fatherland must be what case? You're not sure? Okay, so we should really learn this case. This should be a case that everybody, or an ending that everyone writes down on their template tomorrow. It is what, Riley? Sorry, I'm calling people who are not raising their hand. I know that's annoying.
I know, which means we don't have the answer.
Well, I just flipped the case thing around. It wouldn't take you too long, because what, well, tell me this, Riley. What is the ending of patrium? Thank you. Good. Yeah, there you go. So you know how to use your noun chart. Did you see that, Maddie Dugan? What case is patrium? Maddie Fisher, just take like, see how long you can go without whispering something to Richard or Grace. Just like see how long you can do it. Huh? Yeah, good. It's accusative. It's the direct object, okay? The sailor conserves the direct object, the country. Any questions about that? Please tell me if you're not kind of on the same page as understanding that. Yep. Let's do like 2 more real quick. Dona Datus. What person number is Datus? Maddie Fisher, what is this first, second, or third person?
Second.
Good. Singular or plural? Second.
Plural.
Good. So what is our subject then?
Yeah, the red.
Throw it away. What? So David, if it's second person plural, what's our subject? Okay, first person singular subject is I. Second is you. Third is it. First plural is we. Second plural is blank. And third plural is they. What is the second person plural subject? Aiden? Yeah, you all, right, David? So it's almost the same as second person singular, but it's plural, so it's you all. That way, it's like we know it's like a bunch of uses, like a use guises kind of situation, not just a you situation. So this is you all give gifts. I kind of spoiled that there. But now what if I add something? Dona Magistro Datus. What did I do to it? So it's still going to be you all give gifts, but now I added Magistro. So what is Magistro doing?
Can I say?
Oh, yeah. Is that Ella or Caitlin? Or who?
Me.
Yeah, go ahead. What do you think it is?
You all give gifts to the teacher.
Exactly, Caitlin. Okay. So teacher is what case? Caitlin or anybody?
No idea.
So she does it. So she's able to figure that out without even fully knowing the case, which is actually like that's kind of okay. Eventually, you want to have just like an instinct with Latin, where you're not even totally aware of the grammar. You're just translating it right anyway. But it's good to know the case too, Natalie.
What was that?
Dative, right? Yeah. This could have been an ablative ending, but there's no preposition around for us to think it's an object of a preposition. So it's dative. It's an indirect object. You all give a direct object to an indirect object. Any questions about that? How do you feel about this sentence, Macy? You feel like you kind of get this? So our subject was buried in the verb ending. It was you all, so the verb ending is second plural. See that, Macy? So you all give was all in this word. You all give in that word. This was the direct object. You all give gifts. That's neuter, accusative, plural, to the indirect object dative teacher. All right, one more, and then we'll have about 5 minutes for flashcards. That's nice. Patriam conservare debens. This one's kind of interesting. What's their subject? It's kind of weird on this one. Devin? I don't think it's country, because isn't he accusative? I think he has that accusative ending that we just saw 2 sentences ago for Patriam, right? Patriam wasn't the subject here, so it's not going to be the subject here either. What's the subject? Let's look at our verb, right? We have, maybe 2 verbs, so that's weird. But this verb will probably tell us the person and number, because this one looks like an infinitive. So what is the person and number of debit? Ava? Good. So I'm sure Ava knows it, but can maybe Nathan tell me? If this is third plural, I already erased my verb chart. But what is our subject? Because I'm not saying a nominative. So I think we just need to go with our kind of default pronoun for third plural verbs. Do you have your noun chart handy? I should always have your noun chart handy. Y'all are good at not having your noun chart. What do you think, Abe? Not we. That would be debemus, M-U-S, right? First plural is we. This one is, I think Carson knows, I think Natalie knows, I think Ava knows. Macy, do you know? They, right? This is they. But before I let you make flashcards for 5 minutes, does everybody know how to understand that this is telling us their subject is they? Now, if I had a nominative plural up here, probably that would be my subject. If it was like Nautai or Bricolai, the farmers or the sailors. But I don't. I don't have any nominative plural, so I'm just going to use they. Do y'all kind of get that, Riley?
Every day that I come in here, I'm cold, so I take the temperature. And for the past couple days, it's been going down.
Sorry.
Yesterday I was very
Okay, y'all can make it. Hey, Nathan, can you punch it up like 3 or 4 times? Okay, sorry. It is a little. It's weird that the AC is blowing when it's technically cold outside. Sorry. Just do it. The bell's about to ring anyway, so it's not like it's like. It does get surprisingly hot fast though. So what is this, guys? They what? They owe or they should? Carson?
They ought.
Yeah, they ought or they should, right? Carson knows it's going to be they should, not they owe, because we have a second verb. So it's they should. Anyone out loud? Natalie? conserve the what? The fatherland, the direct object. So Devin, fatherland was the direct object again. They should conserve the country or the fatherland. It's supposed to be like red, but red on pink starts to look crazy. Oh, we have another one, but let's not worry about it. Y'all can come up here. There are 2 decks of flashcards. Only take as much as you need. So people like, Maddie Fisher, who said she had a bunch, you might take 20. But if you only, you told us, you shared that, and I said it was a good thing. Come up, and y'all have about 3 minutes. I also have scissors. If you don't like full-size flashcards, you can cut these in half. And online kids, we still have, wait, are y'all still there?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. We still have 5 minutes, but we're making flashcards now. Y'all can too. Again, this week's all about kind of catching up with the first 4 chapters. And yeah, are y'all doing that noun chart thing where you test yourself with the template? It is on Microsoft Teams. So I would do that where you get that template out every morning and just see how much of the first and second declension you know. Yeah, that's why, because we're starting around 7:55 now. So that's what we're doing in that first 10 minutes. And a lot of kids are still not writing any endings at all. So see if y'all can write some of the endings in that template if you're able to print that out. Let me show y'all the template.
Can I say hi real quick?
Yeah.
Hi, buddy.
Hi.
Hi, buddy. What? What?
Yeah.
Oh, bye.
Yeah, just in case y'all didn't, it's just this. I mean, you don't even need this. You can put it on notebook paper. And yeah, y'all should just, before you even come to the Zoom meeting, see how much of the first 2 declensions y'all are remembering. And hopefully you definitely have all of the verb endings. But, there's 3 minutes left on this, but we're basically done. What was that?
What? Oh, I just said all the verb endings for no reason. Can we say bye?
Yeah. Y'all say bye to your online people.
I don't care about that.
All right. Have a good rest of the day. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
What are you doing? Ow!
Hi.
Nothing happened. So I just didn't get hit by my sister in the head.
All right. Try to avoid that in the future.